SMQBs. This is episode 111. Ones are wild, 111. And guys, I have a question for you. We've got an NFL draft coming up. We'll be talking about that next week. You can get your NFL draft info on episode 112 on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you like to listen or watch us. But here's my question. Who remembers the number 11 pick in last year's NFL draft?
11 pick?
Yeah.
That's
episode 111.
Was it a Commander?
Well, it was through the Commanders, but the Commanders did not make that pick.
Which pick? 111th?
No, number 11.
Number 11. Oh,
yeah, that's more interesting than
can
111.
You tell us? Would it give it away if you told us what team it belongs to?
Yeah, probably, but I'll tell you. It's the New Orleans Saints from the Commanders.
Is that Olave?
Yeah.
Olave?
Yeah. So Olave, who last year, and here's what he did. He had 72 receptions on 119 targets, 1,042 yards, average of 14.5 yards, 4 touchdowns, a 53-yard TD was his long. 2 fumbles. So not a bad year.
With backup quarterbacks thrown to him.
Yeah, not a bad year for him. He looks like he's going to be a good player. That was from Washington. Washington traded down and took Dotson. Dotson looks like he'll be a pretty good player. He did miss about 6 or 7 games last year with injury, so his stats aren't going to match up to that. But it looked like a pretty good, 2 guys who look like they could be good players for a while in the NFL if they stay healthy. But yeah, Chris Olave, number 11 last year. I wonder if we could see who's 111 here.
That's great value at 11. It looks like the Titans have 11 this year. I'm sure they'll screw it up.
Yeah, and then here, I mean, if you can tell me who 111 was.
Of course.
Milk, you asked for it.
I have no clue.
It was the New York Jets this was from the Panthers, taking offensive tackle Max Mitchell from Louisiana.
And didn't make the team, unfortunately.
Never to be heard again. This might be the last time his sports prowess is ever reported anywhere, and it was on the SMQBs. Good luck to you, Max Mitchell. I hope you're actually an all-star and you make us an all-pro, make us look bad.
Rooster, where is Olave going in the preseason fantasy draft? What round?
I think pretty high now that they have David Carr throwing them the ball.
Well, you've done a bunch at this point. What's his average?
Oh, I don't know.
Rooster was on a scintillating committee meeting with me not too long ago, and I was texting him saying how interesting I find everything that we were talking about. He wrote back and said, I've gotten 4 mock drafts done since we started this meeting. So.
Don't be shy. Don't act like you don't know where he's going. Well, on average, he's 3.2.
Yeah.
We need to reserve at least 45 minutes for Rooster next week for the NFL draft.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, look, draft next week, NBA playoffs this week. My God, it's going to be the Lakers and the Celtics in the finals. We don't need to talk about anything else. Isn't that it? I mean, It's overreaction Monday. Is that where we are, Rooster?
It was definitely a good weekend for LA teams. That's for sure.
Knicks, man.
That's for sure. And there were some big injuries. I don't think that's an overreaction.
No, that's got to be the story, right?
Sounds like Giannis's injury may not be as bad as it looked, but when you have Giannis and Ja Morant and Paul George not playing due to injury, that's a big deal in the playoffs. So, but yeah, the Lakers, everything's falling the right way for the Lakers.
Rooster on the injury front, just to add one.
Hero.
I actually think that the Tyler Hero one.
It's a bad one.
Yeah, I think that's a really bad one for them. Really bad.
I hear he broke multiple fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Were you shocked by the Clippers win? Because I was.
I was shocked by the Heat win and the Clippers win. Yeah. I mean, they have no Paul George. The Suns should have been able to. I actually think that the Suns, combination of two things. They look like a team that hasn't played much together. But also Monty Williams needs to do better. I mean, I thought he was a really good coach last couple of years, but that was not a well-coached game at all.
Let me interrupt you for 1 second. We have Pope in the waiting room. It is 5:12. How long should we make him wait in there?
Did the Mavericks make the playoffs?
Oh, is Luca? Let's talk about Luca going to the Knicks.
Knicks. Yeah, Lucas
Yeah.
going to the Knicks.
We
That's
got to
a
start
bad
when Pope comes on.
All right, so
Breaking
let's.
news: Luca to the Knicks.
Okay, so here we go. Okay, they can't have that breaking news now, but it's all but a done deal, right?
Yeah. We'll let Milk tell him. He'll believe
Yeah.
Milk.
Milk's our basketball stud anyway.
Hey,
Yeah.
I knew before Miller did.
Brian Pope, call your office.
Brian Pope.
Sorry,
What?
man.
Oh,
can't
It's
believe it.
happened. It's happened.
uh-oh.
Did you hear, dude? What?
All
Luka-
but a done
There's been
deal.
a big
All but a done
trade.
deal.
There's been a big trade.
Luca to the Knicks.
Luca to
Yeah,
the
that's
Knicks.
like that happens. Nice try.
Check your phone.
You don't think I've been on my phone in the car on the way back from the airport? I think I would have known by now.
Yeah, we.
We thought your
Long
foot was on the
elevator ride.
gas.
How
with
many
the driver.
speeding tickets did your Uber driver get?
A couple.
All right, the show must go on. Pope, welcome. You're late. 5 demerits. Rooster, back to the Clippers.
Clippers, I was shocked. I think the Suns should be able to beat the Clippers even with Paul George in the lineup. And they've got the two of the best scoring superstars in all of basketball on their team who did a lot of standing around watching Chris Paul run a high pick and roll with DeAndre Ayton. I mean, you want those two guys as your primary scorers? I don't think so. So that was the shock to me in the Clippers Suns game, and in the Heat Bucks game. Even without Giannis, the Bucks should be able to destroy the Heat. I have no idea what was going on there.
Don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that
Yeah.
either. I mean, Drew
The Heat,
Holiday and Chris Middleton.
Tough out.
Yeah, I think Giannis is a very, very important piece. You look, what we saw is you got playoff Jimmy, playoff Kawhi. Like, I really never want to hear fans gripe about load management anymore.
Yeah.
This is why teams do load management. So you can get this kind of Kawhi, you can get this kind of Jimmy, you can get this kind of LeBron. You know, it's all about the playoffs.
The Bucks gave up 18 points to Kevin Love and 35 points to Butler. They don't play any defense.
This is Butler time. This is it.
I
Yeah,
think
but that
Middleton
injury to
and
Hero-
Drew Holiday are starting to fade, in my opinion. They're not as good as they were a few years ago.
Did you guys already talk about the injury to Hero?
Yeah,
Yes,
Yeah.
terrible.
Okay.
Yep.
huge.
What'd you guys think about the injury to Giannis, though? I mean, it was on another one of these bang bang trying to draw charge plays, and I just don't think Kevin Love got there nearly on time.
No,
And this is how superstars get hurt badly, because you get a guy that big and fast barreling to the basket, and the rules now just allow somebody, as long as they jump in front of them and actually their feet are planted, it's going to be a charge. That rule sucks. I hate that rule.
There's a lot of talk about trying to get rid of that rule. I mean, it's going to cost, John Morant, who knows how long he's going to be out. I mean, it's a feature of basketball. I was listening to Bill Simmons, and Russillo blamed it on Duke, which I love. He said, that Duke started the jump in front, try to draw the charge that the NBA has picked up, and now they're complaining about almost every time you drive to the basket, somebody's trying to draw a charge.
Well, it used to be that you had to get set, and there had to be like a minute, not a minute, but a moment where you were there before the guy showed up. You can't just jump in front of somebody and cause a collision and have that be a charge. It's just wrong.
but you want to know something? Like, this is something I appreciated about the Sixers game against the Nets. The NBA playoffs is a grind. it is, if you're going to make it all the way to the end, you really got to conserve. You cannot come out as a sprint. They purposefully kept Embiid out of the middle, out of the blocks, out of just bodying people, which he can do and could have scored at will. It's not to say that that injury was avoidable, but I think Budenholzer didn't have the greatest game himself as a coach. I think Giannis was way too physical for game number one against a team that they can easily handle without playing like that. It wasn't a very smart play.
Mhm.
So I don't know, but I agree with you. I mean, I agree that he wasn't there in time. I agree that it's a dangerous play, but I think those kinds of plays are going to happen in the NBA.
So House, that's a really interesting point though that you bring out. I mean, like about what level of effort do you put out in these games? I mean, so we're through the weekend. There obviously we had the play-in tourney, whatever they call that, and then every series has got one game under their belts now. I mean, I hear what you're saying. It is a grind. It goes on for months, right? I mean, I don't even know when are the finals. They're going to be
Feels
in
like it.
June, right?
Early
They're gonna be
June.
in
Yeah.
early
Yeah.
June. So it's months of basketball. If you're the number one Bucks, don't you want to come out and step on the throat of the 8 seed and crush them and get some rest time in there, as opposed to, and look, these guys, these NBA guys, more than any other sport, they take plays off, they take games off, they take quarters off, load management, the whole thing. We've talked about it. But man, isn't there something? I mean, don't you want your team to just roll over the Nets in 4 and move on? You don't want to see that go 6 games, do you?
Well, I think it points to the other story of this weekend, which is the value of bench and role players this past weekend. The Sixers dominated their game, not because of Joel Embiid, but because their bench was on fire where they could rest their players. You're right that if you want to step on someone's throat and your bench isn't contributing, you've got no choice. You really got no choice. But in these games, I mean, come on, Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura. I mean, that's who carried the Lakers.
Meanwhile, the Suns have no bench right now.
No bench.
They don't even have a backup point guard.
Right. That's
So
the problem.
some teams, Chris, I think do have the benefit of at least thinking along those lines, like the Sixers, the Nuggets, and some others. But then you've got some series where they're so tightly matched that they have to play all out from game one on, and therefore you're getting some really good series. Like, for example, the Knicks versus the Cavs. That was like a 1990s brawl, that game. It was so physical. The Kings Warriors, I mean, those teams are so evenly matched. That was just like, I think it was 126 to 123.
Yeah.
Steph Curry was hitting shots like you can't even believe he made them, and they didn't win. I mean, when does that ever happen?
Yeah.
They're the Lakers Grizzlies. I think the Grizzlies were overseeded. They were seeded too high. They're not a two seed right now, and a lot of that has to do with Ja being out of sorts.
They fell apart at the end of the
Yeah.
year for all sorts of reasons.
Yep.
Yeah.
Boy, Pope, I hope you weren't watching the post game of the Knicks Cavs. I was going to text you. They went into that studio and their first reaction was,
Mark Cuban, what were you thinking?
yeah. Their first reaction was, if you are the Dallas Mavericks, you have to be feeling really, really stupid right now. And I was like, that's a little harsh. But
Well,
it's
in defense of Mark Cuban, though, I don't think the Cavs, I mean the Mavs or the Knicks knew how good Jalen Brunson was. He's playing way beyond expectations. He's so
he was
good
pretty
right
good
now.
last year when
He
Luka
was.
hurt.
I think, if you want to criticize Cuban for not having the foresight to sign him to a big deal before last year, because during the year, his dad meddled. I mean, his dad was clearly steering him to the Knicks. At some point, it became apparent that they weren't going to be able to re-sign him. But yeah, I mean, he should have had the foresight to sign Brunson to a long-term deal before the season started and taken that out of the equation.
How about the Knicks not signing Donovan Mitchell? Imagine if they had Donovan Mitchell on that team right now.
He's a superstar. I mean,
Yeah.
he is really so good. That's going to be a great series. It won't surprise me if that one goes 7.
Yeah.
But, the thing they always say about the jump from the NCAA to NBA is what makes a player different in the NBA is that they can create their own shot. And my God, can Jalen Brunson create his own shot?
Sure
He's
can.
unbelievable finding a shot on the floor.
Yep. And his touch in that game was amazing. I mean, he was barely moving the net on his made shots. The only team that played completely true to form, in my view, in the West was the Nuggets. I mean, they had no problem steamrolling the T-Wolves.
Well, it's been a long time. It's been I think it was the bubble, maybe, since the three of them with Jokic and Murray and Michael Porter Jr. played together.
Yeah.
In the playoffs. And if they're healthy and playing together, I mean, I think we might have underestimated. I mean, this is game one overreaction, but I think we might have underestimated. We all season long, we're like, Nuggets, who cares?
Right.
But together, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
So I want to go off script a little bit here. If there's one team that you do not want to see in the finals, who is it and why? And what I mean by that is, who's your villain team? Not who are you afraid of playing. I mean, who is the team that you just hate and you just can't stomach seeing them in the finals or seeing them winning this thing? Milk, go ahead first. I know what your answer is going to be.
Obviously, the Sixers.
That was not what I thought it was going to be.
Oh my God.
That's so gratuitous.
Yeah.
You guys are all going to say the Lakers. I know it.
Yeah, I mean, they're in the lead for sure.
House, come on, who's your villain? Tell us who's your villain? I mean, if you don't have a team, who's your player villain?
Yeah.
Of course, I can't stand the Celtics. I mean, I for the Celtics to win it all would make me puke for days on end. But
you can't really hate those individual players. Who do you hate on the Celtics?
Marcus Smart is a jerk.
Marcus Smart can get under your
Yeah,
skin.
he's a little annoying.
He's an agitator.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
But I'll tell you, if anybody comes out of the Grizzlies,
Lakers, Grizzlies.
Yes, the combination. If the Grizzlies, if one of those two come out, that would not be good. I went from loving the Grizzlies last year to really, this Ja thing has turned me off. Desmond Bane as being such a little prick. And I mean, even after the game against the Lakers, Desmond Bane was like, Rui, yeah, I think that's probably his career game. It's a 7-game series. Let's see if he can do it again on Wednesday. Dude, you just lost. And he just smoked you.
Right.
I don't want
you got one?
I didn't have one until last night.
Oh.
And now it's the Knicks.
No, it's the Suns. I forgot how much I hated them last year during our playoff run, but they're just a bunch of assholes.
Wow.
And I've always hated Chris Paul. Always hated him.
Wow.
Because he's, the guy that draws the foul that doesn't get touched and complains when he. Now, of course, I got Luka, so there's pot kettle. But Booker just rubs me the wrong way. And those guys in that game against the Clips, and I don't like the Clips. I would have maybe have said the Clips, but I actually am rooting for the Clips over the Suns. So I don't want to see the Suns in the finals.
I cannot stand Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers. I don't want to see Kawhi Leonard win another playoff game if it's at all possible in his entire career. I hate that guy. I hate everything about him. I can't stand him. That's it. That's the villain. He's the worst. I don't want anybody who forces his way out of playing for Popovich. There's something wrong with you, and I can't support him. I hope he never wins another basketball game, and certainly another playoff game. Rooster, what do you got?
I really don't have a villain out there right now.
Come
on.
So
weak.
Don't be such a
Viscerally, I
I
always hate the Lakers. I hate the Lakers.
There we go.
Can't really tell you why right now. I don't hate LeBron. I just hate the arrogance. So I hate the Lakers. I hope the Lakers lose to the
Why
Grizzlies.
Are you guys surprised? Why were y'all seemed a little surprised, maybe not shocked, by the Lakers winning that game? Was it because Memphis did so well this year? I mean, when I, as a neophyte NBA guy, I look at the Lakers lineup, I'm like, damn, they had a lot of talent.
Well, I
Yeah,
don't
but
think
that's a
it's,
recent lineup.
yeah, that's the thing. I don't think it's anybody was surprised that they won that game. I think it's like, if you look at the season where they started, who was on the team,
Yeah.
how they couldn't do anything, the injuries they were having, they were a mess. I mean, if the season was 10 games shorter, they wouldn't have made the playoffs,
Right.
right? I mean,
Right.
and so now the lineup is completely different, and this is what's so odd about the NBA. I mean, the way teams plug and play, different players around their 2 or maybe 3 stars, lets them rebuild a roster between trades, and then when guys, get signed out, get bought out of their contracts and go somewhere else.
Right.
So I don't think it's that anybody's really surprised that they won that game or that they'll even win the series. I just think looking back on the season, what a roller coaster for that franchise.
The Lakers had 4 guys score more than 20 points in that game against the Grizz, which is the first time the Lakers have done that in the playoffs since 1988 when they had
That's nuts.
Wow.
Magic, Kareem, James Worthy, and Byron Scott do it. That's crazy.
That's because Kobe took all the shots.
That's true.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah, there weren't any shots for anyone else. By the way, honorable mention villain is Trae Young.
Yeah. Oh no, I don't like Trae Young.
Oh,
either.
Trae Young.
I don't think you have to
But
worry
there's
about
no
the
concern
Hawks.
that he's going to be in the finals,
No.
so I didn't even
Yeah.
occur to me.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, guys, what else do you have on NBA? I mean, it's just getting teed up. Shit, we're going to be talking about this.
Tonight, tonight is a massive game
We'll be
with the
6.
Kings and Warriors.
Yeah.
I mean, Warriors need to win that game.
They do.
Don't want to go
Yes.
down 0-2 back to Oracle.
The crazy thing about that series is that people are talking about, obviously the Warriors are the defending champions, but people are talking about this upstart Kings team. I mean, they are the 3 seed, and the Warriors are the 6 seed, and the Kings are favored. I will say that
The Warriors are favored.
that whole
Yeah.
scene in
Yeah, the
Sacramento
Kings are like the Rodney Dangerfield of the West.
We didn't give them any respect on this pod.
You guys never have talked about the Kings ever.
Right.
No.
We were like, there's no way they keep the 3 seed. Someone's
Right.
going to catch them. The Suns will catch
It's
them.
a good
Yeah.
once you watch them, it's a good team. And I always love almost in any of the major sports, seeing a city that's been starved for so long. It's been 17 years since they had playoff basketball. That place was nuts.
Did you see the
cowbell
video of that light the beam
Yeah.
stuff? Oh
Yeah.
my God. It's like Disney World down there.
I mean,
Good.
I think we're seeing the emerging superstars in Duran Fox and Malik Monk. I mean,
Yeah.
these guys, they have
And-
the ability to be top 10 players.
And I don't think I've seen Duran Fox play maybe more than a highlight reel before that game.
Well, because they don't get
Right.
the publicity now that they're. I mean, this is their opportunity.
And by the way, Sabonis had a poor game by his standards.
Yeah.
And if he plays well, they could really make some surprising moves in the West.
Yeah. There are already people talking about what happens to the Warriors at the end of this year. They got 4 guys who are really highly paid and old. So what do they do with that team next year?
Let's not bury him quite yet.
Yeah,
No, I
and
know, but even if they win, they can't afford to keep all those contracts. They really have 5 huge contracts if you count Jordan Poole.
Yeah, well, I mean, Draymond's as good as gone, right? I mean,
Draymond's
His
gone.
back's a
he's
mess.
gone.
But what about Clay? Can they afford to keep him? That'll be interesting to see.
I would keep Steph as long as you can and build around
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Poole and
absolutely.
Wiggins and build around
That's-
Poole and Wiggins.
So Sixers Nets tonight. That's the early game. Then Kings Warriors.
Kings,
don't
Warriors.
worry about the second one. You won't be watching it. It starts
What,
at
Kings
10.
Warriors?
It starts at
Starts
10
at 10
p.m.
o'clock.
Oh,
Basically,
no, that's
9
way
o'clock
too
my
late.
time. I'm going to watch that game.
That's way
Basically,
too
I'll
late.
report back on it.
I might be watching the Bruins kill the Panthers just so I have some ammunition for next week when
Look at him go.
Moose
Oh, well.
when Moose comes
Oh.
around.
All right. Anything else on NBA, guys?
Nope.
All right. Well, let's kick this off. We're going to do a little National League preview. We haven't really dug too deep into the different leagues and divisions. If you are watching this on YouTube, you'll see that Milk came prepared to talk about the American League Central. So this will be interesting.
I'm ready to go with Minnesota.
Nobody told him that Minnesota is in the American League, apparently.
Been a long day.
Well,
Been a long day.
you are the defending NL pennant holder. Go ahead, and why don't you kick it off with the East?
Well, it's going to be a tall order for the Phillies to get the pennant again with all their injuries, but I do think the pennant in the National League will come out of the NL East. They have two really, really top 5, top 6 teams in the whole major leagues, in the Braves and the Mets. I think for the Nats, who I belovedly call the Expos because they should have never really moved from Montreal, and the Marlins, it's about the future. They do have the Nats have some nice young pieces, but they have next to no power. They have 8 home runs in baseball this year, which is the same amount that Pete Alonso has for the Mets. They have a nice piece in a catcher, Keibert Ruiz, and Victor Robles is still only 25 and is batting 300. And they've got a nice right fielder in this kid, Lane Thomas, who's showing progress. And they've got a pitcher who was once considered one of the best prospects in all of baseball that nobody talked about for a while, Mackenzie Gore, who's starting really well, 2-0 with a 3.0 ERA. But they're going to be the bottom of the National League, and it's going to be a rough go, I think. And they got to just build their farm and try to get some young players. The Marlins aren't much.
So wait a minute. Sorry, you're putting the Mets ahead of the Dodgers and San Diego in terms of chances of winning the.
No, I didn't hear that.
I said
Nationally?
they're top 6 team in the Major League Baseball. I think first of all, I definitely think the Braves are. And as far as the Mets, I mean, we'll get to this, but they haven't really even got going yet with Scherzer and Verlander.
Right.
I mean, I think the Mets already starting out pretty well, and they haven't really kicked it into gear. They're going to be dangerous. I think we know that they'll choke, but I think they'll be there near the end. The Marlins, the interesting story about the Marlins is I know Milk has this because he's got the Twins behind him. But did you know who the AL batting champion was last year, Milk?
No.
He was somebody from your Twins team, the Luis Arraez.
Yeah.
And this guy who, people don't talk about because he was on the Twins, American League, he is killing. He's batting .471 for the Marlins, and nobody's within 50 points of him. And he's never batted below 294 in his 5 MLB seasons. He's a true hitter. And so the Marlins have that, and they have another really stud DH first baseman, Garrett Cooper, who's also batting .337, very, very talented player. And they've got a couple young pitchers in Jesus Luzardo and Alcantara, who started terribly, the reigning NL Cy Young. But the Marlins aren't going to be anywhere. The Phillies, it's really about how much they can come back from injuries. They've lost their first baseman, Rhys Hoskins, for the year. Their backup first baseman tore his ligament, Derek Hall. They're basically trying out people at first base. They're platooning people like Roger Clemens' kid, Cody Clemens, and, Alec Boehm is sometimes playing first base. They don't have much of first base. That's a big deficit in a park like that. They lost the number 1 prospect in all of baseball, Andrew Painter, who probably won't pitch this year. And they don't have Bryce Harper yet. Still, they've got 4 players, Bryson Stott, Trey Turner, Alec Boehm, and Brandon Marsh, who are batting .338 or better. They are really hitting the ball. They're first in average in Major League Baseball. They're first in hits. They're second in slugging. They're second OPS. But their pitching right now stinks. Wheeler and Nola haven't gotten it going, and I'm pretty sure you've never heard of Bailey Falter or Matt Strom, but they're in their 5-man rotation. Exactly.
Well, what about your relief pitcher, your closer?
Our relief pitching is okay. They haven't really faltered that bad yet this year. It's a mix. Sir Anthony Dominguez, Alvarado. Our relief pitching should be okay. It's really, if our starting pitching doesn't get going, we got to catch up fast. They've got to get to the All-Star break close to 500, a game or two above, and then let Bryce kick in. But the story in the East is definitely what the Braves and Mets are doing. Like I said, Scherzer and Verlander haven't even gotten going yet, and they've got Tyler McGill and Kodai Sensa, the kid who came over from Japan, who are, undefeated. One McGill 2.25, Sensa 3.38. They're pitching very well. The Mets bats have been pretty quiet other than Lindor and Alonso, and they're still 4 games above 500 and second place in the East. But the Braves are who we thought they are. They're just so talented. They're so young. They're so built for the future. Their pitching is on fire with Elder and Morton and Strider. They're batting. Acuna's batting 373 and Olsen 313 and Riley 322 and Arcia 333. And Diarno was batting 333 before he got hurt. And then this kid from the A's comes in, the backup catcher Olsen, and not Olsen, Sean, what's his name? Sean Murphy comes in, and he's killing the ball. I think the Phillies, I won't say they got lucky. They just caught lightning in a bottle. They played their best possible baseball against the Braves in the playoffs last year, because otherwise the Braves they're a force. I really,
and Max Fried just came off the DL too.
At Fried. So I just think the Braves are going to be a runaway train. And if they stay healthy, it's going to be them and the Dodgers squaring off in the National League. And that's the NL East for you.
I think the biggest difference between the Braves this year and last year is that Acuna is healthy and he's starting at the beginning of the year.
True.
He makes that offense run.
True.
That all may be true, but we're only 4 series into the season, and the Braves have played the Reds, the Nats, which, no offense, Bison, the Nats may turn out to be the worst team in baseball this year.
Oh yeah.
And
A's.
who else have they played? Yeah, the A's are awful too. So they played the Reds, the Royals, and the Nats, and one other team.
No.
Far.
So that's a good point, Rooster. They played the Padres, who are, we'll talk about them in a minute, but obviously they're loaded, and then they play the Astros. So we'll find out some more in the next 6 games.
Right. Sort of was my point about the Rays.
Stop downplaying teams that have had easy schedules.
The
I know where you're going.
The Rays have played the 3 worst teams in baseball.
Unbelievable. You tried to sneak that in on an NL preview.
They played the 3 worst teams in baseball, and the Red Sox, who were in last place, and they finally play a winning team, and they win 1 out of 3.
14-2. Thanks. Talk more next week.
I mean, the Mets, I don't know. They're just the Mets.
That's right. That's exactly right. They're the Mets. They're going to figure out a way to injure all their pitchers and suck by the end of the year.
Right. Exactly.
But you have to think they're wild card, definitely. I mean, I don't think they'll win the East, but I think wild card.
Let's not forget that they did lose their closer in the World Baseball Classic, which may
celebrating.
Celebrating.
Thank God.
Which may hurt them down the road.
Don't have to hear damn Tommy Trumpet.
It's major triage for the Phillies, though, House. Just like you said, just got
to survive.
Keep your head above water.
They don't have I think all of their starting pitchers have an ERA over 4.
Correct. Yeah. No, it's hard to win without pitching in baseball. I think
that lineup.
Hey, Milk, do you know which team so far this year has not lost a series?
Uh-oh.
The Yankees.
Aren't we doing the American League next week?
Yeah. Can we stick to the National League?
Keep moving into the American
Milk,
League here.
Do you need Milk, do you need a little more time, or are you ready for the Central?
I am not ready.
Should we tell them the teams that are in the Central?
Yeah, so the National League Central.
We're gonna do this as a group effort.
Is made up of
The
All
Brewers.
right, well, what do you?
Milwaukee, the Cubs, Pirates, the Cardinals, and the Reds.
I mean, God, that's got to be the most uninteresting division in baseball.
Wow.
Who gives a shit?
Well,
other than the Cubs.
Other than the rabid
Milwaukee's
fan base
Milwaukee's
of the
11 and
Cardinals
5.
and the Cubs.
Well, one of the reasons that it's uninteresting is because of O'Neal Cruz, right, and his injury to
Yeah,
the Pirates. We talked about that last week. I mean, that was one of the most interesting, intriguing, exciting young players to watch. And poor Pittsburgh, who doesn't really have much to live for, baseball or otherwise, quite honestly. But I mean,
Wow.
that's
Apologies
ouch.
to
they
the
lose
city
that.
of Pittsburgh.
sorry,
Yeah,
Steelers
so-
fans.
Yeah,
Apologies to
whatever,
those
but
listeners out there.
Wow.
Just saying.
Well,
But
I guess
you know,
you're not
I
a
mean,
Kenny Pickens fan, huh?
Pickett.
Pickett.
yeah, yeah. So
George
there's
Pickens,
that.
Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, it is really pretty uninteresting, isn't it?
All right, enough for the Central.
Yeah.
I would say, you know what? The Cubs made a couple interesting offseason moves with Dansby Swanson and Ian Happ. And I actually think that they could make a little bit of noise also if their pitching stays okay and comes around. I don't think we can, normally every year we can write off the Cubs. Clearly the Brewers are the class in that division, but I don't think we can write off the Cubs this year. I think they got a shot.
Well, don't count the Cards out. They're always
Yeah, they're always in it at the end.
at the end. At All-Star break, they're going to be down like 6 or 7 games, and they'll make a run. They always do.
Brewers just took 3 out of 4 from the Padres, so they must be pretty good.
Baseball is better when the Cubs are in contention.
Yeah, I mean, we better
Agreed.
say something nice about the Cards, otherwise Tad will get all upset and everything. But the reality
I just did.
You did good job, Pope. But the reality is, Tad, they're going to suck because they let some people retire because they needed to in the offseason, and it's just not your year. Sorry, buddy.
They should have brought Matt Carpenter back.
What?
Yeah, man, that guy had a great year last year.
He's 50 years
Well,
old.
St. Louis.
People love him.
St. Louis had a chance. I think they were in on the Juan Soto sweepstakes at the trade deadline last year and didn't make it happen. And so, they'll probably, that we'll talk about Soto in a minute here because he's not really been Juan Soto since he was traded, but still that was a big moment for them. And they didn't make it happen. They pulled back off of it. So that would be a much different looking team if Soto was there, and you'd have something interesting to root for.
Maybe we'll get a Juan Soto retraction. I'm looking forward to it.
No. Don't get crazy. All right. So the Central took up exactly 96 seconds, and that was probably 84 seconds too long.
Go Brewers.
Go Brewers. Yeah. Okay.
Reds.
So
Go Reds.
let's look at the West. You know that the Dodgers
Loaded.
have won 8 of the last 9. And in 21, when the Giants won the division, they lost in the NLDS to the Dodgers. So the Dodgers have owned the NL West. And the question is, did San Diego catch them? Are they past them at this point? I mean, you got to say that for both the Dodgers and the Padres, anything short of winning the World Series is complete failure, right? I mean, the Padres are just loaded. I mean, their offense is outrageous, right? I mean, let's look at this. We've got Machado, Soto, Tatis Jr., Bogarts. I mean, they added Nelson Cruz, who's 1,000 years old.
He's
but
still playing
couldn't-
He can
baseball.
still
could
knock the
still hit
ball.
30. He could hit
Knock the
30
cover
home
off
runs
that thing.
this year.
Yep.
And then, I think one of the other stories has to be who the Dodgers lost.
Right.
Right? I mean, they lost Trey Turner, who's the best shortstop in baseball. There, I said it, House. Justin Turner and Cody Bellinger.
And the pitcher
they-
and their pitcher who likes to punch women in the face.
Oh,
Oh,
Bauer?
yeah.
He plays in
Bauer?
Guy who
Well,
plays
yeah.
in Japan now.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
didn't-
he's
didn't
been
get
out
an
for 2
offer.
years. So I mean, the Dodgers are still good, and they'll still be a playoff postseason team. But it's got to be the Padres to lose. Now, I guess the question for the Padres is really going to be about pitching. What can they do, with their pitching? So,
I mean,
who knows?
Darvish is 0-2, but he hadn't had any run support.
Right. And, to the point about Soto, I mean, Soto has not settled in since he was traded, and he's not performed at his level. That includes last year and the start of this season. So will he get that? Will he get it back? Will he live up to what statistically he has done for his entire career? You have to think yes, because it's not just 1 or 2 years to go on. He's got a pretty good 5-year record to look at. But you got to think it's the Padres division to lose, even with the Dodgers, and that's saying a lot. Now, I think if you look at some of the predictions, people still think that the Dodgers win a game or two more based on some of the simulations. But I think it's San Diego's to lose. I think Arizona will have a good team, and the Giants are going to have a good team. Colorado is fighting to outpace the Nats towards the bottom of the National League. But Arizona and San Francisco are going to be good baseball teams, and that could be a fun division to watch. Don't be stunned if Arizona makes a little bit of a run, and one of those teams, the Dodgers or San Diego, have a drop off for some reason, and Arizona emerges as the next best team in there. But I think you're going to watch, realistically, the Dodgers and the Padres battle this out till the last series of the season.
By the way, you guys talked about schedule in the beginning. The Padres have basically started out with the Diamondbacks, who actually lead their division, and then Braves, Mets, Brewers, and they're going back to the Braves and the Diamondbacks. I mean, that is a gauntlet to start with.
Yeah.
But Bison, I don't know. I mean, I know that you're a Soto sexual, but he's batting 172.
Ooh, below the Mendoza line.
He has not played well since he got there. I think we might want to just roll up that red carpet just a little bit for the Hall of Fame entrance that you have waiting for him. He's got.
Oh no, you're crazy. You're crazy.
Why? What he did, if he stayed the player that he was in Washington, I absolutely agree with you. If not, if this is the Juan Soto, a 225, 250 hitter who does nothing in the playoffs, then what?
Well, okay, that's fine. I mean, that's true. You're right. I'll give you that. If he completely falls apart and becomes, below mediocre, yeah, okay, that's fair. But I mean, that's not what's going to happen. I mean, he's one of the greatest offensive players that's played baseball. I mean, he is, through this point in his career, and again, you never know. I mean, guys do fall off, but he is in the rarefied air of the greatest hitters to ever play. I mean, he's right up there statistically with guys like, with Ted Williams. I mean, it's true. These are statistical truths that you can look at. I mean, batting average is, come on, man. You sound like a boomer up there.
Wait, Rooster, we lost your audio.
Yeah, but what, Rooster?
Hold on, am I back?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah.
Your sample size is so small for him. Ted Williams had a long career of batting like that.
Right,
Soto
but
had
I'm
a couple of
comparing
good
him
years.
through the same number of years.
Oh, okay.
That's the thing. I mean, comparing them to the same number of years. I mean, he's right there with the greatest hitters.
But you
Tony
agree
Gwynn.
you agree with with this Padres lineup. If this guy doesn't hit between 280 and 320 with 30 home runs and 100 RBIs, I mean, this lineup is
Right.
like,
So
well
protected.
Yeah, he's so
Oh
protected.
yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. But
Well, maybe Tatis coming back is going to help him.
Yeah, Tatis is coming back along with Bogarts and Machado. I mean, come on.
his I mean, his OPS is still 944 for his career, and he's down to 731. So, he's going to get back on track. That's such a huge gap. You're not going to see that drop off this year. That huge of a drop off. So he'll be fine. Soto will be fine. And if not, he'll sign back with Washington next year, and it'll be beautiful.
So Bison, do you have any hope for our friends Matt and Elise out in the Bay Area for the Giants?
Like I said, I think they're going to be a good baseball team, but I don't see them cracking through. That division, though, they're going to beat each other up a little bit, right? What is everybody plays 13 games against your division, within your division against each other? I mean, that division, they're going to beat each other up, and that might let a team like St. Louis snag a wild card because they've got easier games than having to play in the West. So, like I said, I think the Giants will be a good baseball team. There's some good players there to watch, but I just don't think they can compete with the Padres and the Dodgers.
Bison, did you know about this Diamondbacks closer? Was it Chafin? Is that his last name?
Eric?
Before this year? Yeah. Andrew Chafin. Wow. I mean, the guy's like a dominant closer this year. I'd never heard of him before.
No, I was not familiar with him.
I don't think we're talking enough about the Diamondbacks. I'm serious. I think they're for real.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, Bison said they could
talking
slide into second place.
If we're going to use Russo's analysis of schedules, did you see their opening schedule? This is not like they've played the Dodgers, I think, 8 times already and won the series.
And they're 9-7.
Yeah, they won like 5 out of 8. And they just beat the Brewers in a series. I mean, they've played top level teams.
I think if
Josh Rojas is for real.
Oh, you know this guy?
Yeah.
Who's their manager? Do you know?
Arizona?
Yeah, it's not Matt Williams anymore, is it?
No.
Oh.
Who is their manager?
By the way, is Nerdarame Diamondbacks fan or no?
Don't know.
He's probably a Yankees fan.
Yeah, there's no way. Does he follow?
No, I think he's a
Arizona
D-backs. I think he's a
He's
D-backs.
probably a Yankees fan. I mean, they could have the rookie of the year, right? And Corbin Carroll could be an MVP candidate before it's said and done this year.
Yeah,
I mean, he could be the best player in the majors.
Surely you guys know and like Torey Lavulo, right? Yeah, that's their manager.
Torey Lavulo.
Oh, really?
That's amazing.
That is pretty amazing.
Come on.
Torey Lavulo. What's his background?
But do watch Corbin Carroll, who will be a really fun young player. And actually, the Diamondbacks, I think in general, their farm system is loaded. I mean, I don't think this is their year to make the playoffs, but the next couple of years, they should be very, very good. Very good.
So are we making our predictions for the divisions in National League?
Hope loves a prediction. He wants everyone on the record. Yeah, let's do it.
Before we do the predictions, I have to confess about the Cardinals that until you had sent that text the other day about this guy, Jordan Walker.
Oh, yeah.
I'd never heard of the dude. And I don't know, maybe I should have, but this guy is freaking scary good.
Oh, yeah.
It's so that I'll shout out Jordan Walker's the future of the Cardinals now that the big guns are gone, along with Goldschmidt and Arenado. But there you go, Tad. Jordan Walker.
Nice.
I love
there
you.
go.
So what's he hitting right now? Because he was bananas on fire. Let's see.
He is
267.
Ooh, he's cooled off.
Yeah, he has cooled off a little bit, I guess.
Hmm.
He'll be fine though.
2 home runs and 8 RBIs. Meh.
Yeah, but he hit like safely in like 10 straight games or something, right? I mean, wasn't he? He started the season off just ridiculous.
Small sample size.
You guys
Oh,
do know
boy.
that Bryson Stott has a 16-game hitting streak for the Phillies.
Oh, really?
Every game of the season so far. So if that gets beyond 20, that could get fun.
Yeah. Get past
Let
30.
me know after 30.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
Double it up, and we'll mention it on the
Yeah.
pod again.
We'll,
fair,
yeah,
that's
we'll
fair.
cover it on the pod.
That's fair.
All right, let's do our predictions so Pope can tell us that the Braves are going to win the World Series.
No, not doing World Series this week. We got to just do a National League.
Oh,
We're just talking about the winners of the division.
No, we'll get our team to the World Series, and then next week we'll have a World Series team from the American League and
Yeah. Okay.
make our calls.
okay.
All right.
All right. Okay. Go ahead, Pope.
All right. Well, I got the division.
Atlanta.
This is your world. We're just living in it.
I got the division winners as Atlanta, Milwaukee, and I think I'm still gonna buy stock in San Diego, although my head's telling me the Dodgers. And then the wild cards are going to be the Mets, the Dodgers, and I'm going to go out on a limb and put the D-backs in. I'm
There
kind
it
of
is.
impressed.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love that.
And then I got
So
guess
just so we're clear,
Yeah.
you have the defending National League champion Phillies
out.
out.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure we were clear on that.
That
Okay.
is-
Yeah.
All
Out.
right.
Mm.
Okay.
And then let's see. I guess I won't do all the playoff series, but I do have the Braves coming out of the
Yeah,
National League.
we know,
Big
we
shock.
know.
That's a shock.
Yeah.
We're really shocked to hear
We're,
that.
They-
we're
I have the
stunned.
I have the Braves over the Padres in the NL final, NL pennant.
The NLCS.
NLCS is what we
Yeah.
baseball
It's what the
people call it.
Well, you win the pennant, so
Yeah.
Seems
Hopefully
like the
I
Rangers
wanna-
fandom is fading fast.
I want a
Oh, wait a sec.
Braves.
This
I
is just
want
National
a
League Day.
Braves. I want a Braves Rangers World Series so we can just see Pope on YouTube split in half.
Yeah. Yes. Milk.
I'd go to all the
No,
games.
No,
though.
whoever wins is his favorite team.
I'd go to all the games. I'd be wearing like that, the mom who has a kid in both
Yeah.
teams. Split
Mrs.
jersey.
Chelsea.
Except you don't have any kids playing in
No,
both
none.
teams, so
Minor detail.
all difference. You
All
just
right.
have commitment issues. Okay,
I'm
so
going
Milk, we're doing the National League. Remember, that's not the division with the Yankees.
I'm going with the
and
Houston
Minnesota.
Astros.
Yeah.
Well, they were in the National League.
That's right.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm going to take the Braves out of the East. God, the Central. I mean, it's look at these teams. It's so boring. I guess I'll take Milwaukee. God. And I'm not buying the Padres. I'm absolute Dodgers. Their pitching is better than the Padres. I'll take LA. And then what? I need 3 wild card teams.
Make them up.
Mets, Padres. I'm gonna shake it up a little bit. Chicago Cubs.
Whoa, there we go.
Wow.
Yep.
House.
And Braves out of the National League.
Yeah. So the West will be the Dodgers. The Central will be the Brewers, and the Braves will cakewalk in the East. But it will be similar to last year in that I think we're gonna look at almost. Actually, I do think, yeah, it's gonna be the Mets and the Phillies and the Padres in the wild card. The Phillies will be okay. They're gonna tread water, and then it's gonna be very similar to last year. The second half they'll get hot. I think the Cubs just miss.
All right.
All
You
right.
gotta go with the Phillies. You gotta take them.
We'll be fine.
Rooster.
I think it's going to be the Padres out of the West, the Brewers, and the Braves in the East. And I do think that the Phillies come back and get a wild card.
Yeah.
And my only question is, do the Mets implode soon enough that they don't even get a wild card? I'm kind of thinking that's probably what's going to happen. I'm giving a wild card to the Dodgers, the Phillies, and possibly the Cardinals again.
Okay.
They always seem to pull it out.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to try and go with my brain and not my gut here. And this will be an epic failure. I got the Mets, the Brewers, and the Padres. And then for the wild cards, I've got the Braves, St. Louis, and the Dodgers. And I think the Padres come through.
Wow. Mets over Braves.
That's
Padres
the
win.
one that I mean, I like.
You just got finished saying they're
No,
the Mets.
on paper
I
that should be
know.
correct. On paper that
That's
should be
why I'm
correct.
saying. That's why I'm saying I'm going with my brain and my paper, but my heart tells me the Mets will shit the bed, like they always do. But that's it.
That's
I'm
like
staying
saying
unemotional.
the Jets are going to get Aaron Rodgers and therefore be in the Super Bowl.
Right.
They're
I'm taking
still the
emotion out of
Jets.
this. I know, it's true. It's true. All right. Anything else on the National League? House, I'm going to make sure that you have a front row seat to Juan Soto's induction at Cooperstown.
I'll
when
be
it
there.
comes.
I will be there with you if he makes it.
Okay. All right. That sounds like a good deal. All right. Hey, new segment. House, what's our next segment? What's the newest segment?
We got a buzzer beater. What are we trying to get in under the clock? Quick hitters here, right here. Buzzer beater.
Which one is it?
Right,
Buzzer
right,
beater or
right.
buzzer beater?
It's a buzzer beater.
All right, I got a buzzer beater. Congratulations to Matty Fitzpatrick on a
Nice.
overtime expert free golf, winning the RBC Heritage at the Ocean, whatever they call it in Sea Pines down there. I don't even know what they call the actual course.
You live
in
there.
Sea Pines.
It's called Sea Pines.
Yeah, well, Sea Pines has multiple courses. So
that explains it.
yeah,
Harbor
the
Town.
I think it's Harbor Town.
Harbor Town?
Is the actual course.
Mhm.
But we were there on Thursday, and just props to the PGA Tour on these designated or elevated events. Everybody was there that you cared to watch play, and they were all competing on Sunday, and it was really great to see. This is a tournament that historically, because it's the week after the Masters, has not had all the biggest names in golf. And other than Rory, who's going to have to pay a pretty penny for skipping it,
That's a shame.
everybody else
3
that you
million.
cared to see was there. So that's my buzzer beater.
Real quick, can you tell our listeners what it's like to go to a golf tournament with your wife and mom? Was that a pleasant experience?
On the advice of counsel, I will be exercising my Fifth Amendment rights at this time.
Okay.
Anybody else have a buzzer beater?
I'll follow that real quick, and I'm not going to eat crow, but I will say that there is a level of interest in the live exhibition match in Australia this weekend that we haven't seen before. Norman finally is bringing live to Australia. They've sold out all of their passes, 60,000. There's a lot of buzz. If live's ever going to take off, it's got to be now with Phil at T2 and having Patrick Reed and Brooks. So, I would, I'm not going to say I'm going to watch it, but I am watching to see what happens and what kind of reaction from a worldwide golf media that the live tournament gets this weekend.
Wow. He's nervous.
Yes. Well,
I mean, he is nervous.
I have to say, I didn't think we were going to have a punchable face this week. But
Wow.
Pope,
Yeah, it could be
just
Pope
made a
next
strong,
week.
Strong case for this week.
This is the first time I've heard a little chink in the armor right there.
Yeah. Wow.
Masters
Wow.
changed everything. The
Ooh.
Masters changed.
Masters did. Yes, it did.
I'm acknowledging reality, and I'm interested, and I don't think it's going to be a big event. I don't think anybody's going to watch it. Nobody's going to change the channel to CW on Sunday or whenever.
It's great golf.
I guess, what is it, 12 a.m.? What time?
Yeah, it'll be in the middle of the night. Anyway.
Yeah, middle of the night. I mean, their ratings are going to be pathetic. But look, I'm just giving a little bit of a shout out. That's
right.
yeah.
All right, I've got one. As you guys know, I'm fascinated by the NFL draft and all that leads up to it. And one thing that's crazy is every year some stud inexplicably just drops like a lead balloon, from being predicted to be like a top 5 or 10 pick to all of a sudden down. This year it looks like it's Quentin Johnson, the
Yeah.
stud wide receiver from TCU. I do not get this.
That guy's a stud.
I mean, he's a stud. First 2 years in the Big 12, he averaged 22 yards a catch. He's got great footwork. He wins all the contested balls because he's so big and has big, long arms. I mean, I just don't get it. I hope he drops to the Giants at number 26. Be interesting to see.
He may. I think you're going to get Johnson or Addison in the first round.
Yeah.
Which you need, even though you don't have a quarterback. My buzzer beater is for all you sports junkies out there that want to fill up your entire calendar, including from the time you wake up. This is the time to start watching Saturday and Sunday mornings on English Premier League. We only have about 7 or 8 games to go. There are 20 teams in the Premier League, and 11 of them are either in play to go up or go down. The beauty of Premier League and most other soccer leagues is that you can be relegated when you're in the bottom 3. And there are several teams there are 3 teams within 4 points of falling to the bottom 3. So there's a lot of teams still in play that could get dropped down. And up at the top, this is fascinating. Arsenal was running away with it, and they choked in their last 2 matches. And now Man City, with a game in hand, is only 4 points behind. And Man City is playing Arsenal at Etihad Stadium of Man City on Wednesday, April 26th. I predict that will be for all the marbles in the league because Arsenal has a really tough schedule remaining. There's some other really great interest in getting in the top 4, which makes you eligible for Champions League or the 5th spot for Europa League. So there's a lot of teams in play there too. 8 teams are in the mix to get into one of those spots for, great play, tournament play in the next season. So watch Premier League. There's only 7 or 8 games to go, and watch Arsenal Man City on Wednesday, April 26th for all the marbles, I think.
How does Zara's retirement affect all of that?
Yeah, Zara's are. I'm not going to say anything. I don't want to do any spoilers here, but that's a big one.
Are you talking about Zava?
Zava. Sorry, Zava.
I thought he said Zava.
He said Zara.
I said Zara, Zava.
The mark of Zara.
We've already spent way too much time on that.
I thought this was called buzzer beater.
Yeah.
Let me finish
Wait.
this off here.
But I have a retort on the buzzer beater from Rooster, because I did think my hearing was going. You said the Giants have the 26th pick, which means the Cowboys have 25 now. Appreciate that.
No, I think the Cowboys have 27.
No, we have 26.
Oh,
Giants have 25.
Okay, all right.
damn it, Rooster.
Damn it, Rooster.
I'm not that worried about the facts too much. I'm just running my mouth as usual.
All right.
You got a week to sharpen up.
You guys weren't going to cover the biggest story in sports that happened last week.
We made money.
I'll go ahead and do it. We made money on them in Vegas. House and I, the Tampa Bay Rays, tied the Major League Baseball record for most consecutive wins at 13. I don't
To
care
start
what
a season.
schedule they
To
play.
start a
Don't care.
season.
To
Yeah.
start a season. I'm sure Nace has some stat from the 1800s that's going to say that I was wrong. There's some stupid team that did 30 games in a row. But in the
During the
modern
regular season.
Yeah, modern era, 13. Hell of a start. Wish we could have had 14, but that fucking Paul Miller screwed everything up. And congratulations. Can't wait.
Sucks to play a winning team.
There are going to be
The
some very
American League
interesting
is gonna be
predictions
fun.
next week, Milk.
I
Sure.
can't.
So,
League's gonna be
very
fun.
interesting predictions coming next week.
No, I'm sure there are. I cannot wait to bury the Yankees this year.
I'm telling you right now, I'm not even going to give you a wild card.
Oh,
Whoa.
Shots
Wow.
fired. Shots fired. All right.
All right.
Who's got a punchable face?
You do.
I'm a little leery. I'm gonna do it.
Don't punch your mom or your
What
wife,
a-
please.
We'll lose some viewers or audience.
Mom.
Let's leave it here. I don't want to make this premature, but I'm thinking that we ought to be honoring and having naming rights on the punchable face of the week. And I just have to wait for the ink to dry before I make a motion to have the punchable face of the week named after one particular person into perpetuity.
Ooh.
Dan Snyder, punch
Dan
Dan
Snyder,
Snyder,
punchable
punchable-
face.
The Dan Snyder
got
punchable face?
We got to see the ink dry.
I mean, if you add him up, he's probably number one.
I think the Dan Snyder punchable face of the week is great.
A Snyder and a
tuned.
Lasso.
And we have to memorialize him because we won't hear about him much more once he sells.
Yeah, he lives
Yeah,
in England.
Just
now.
in the criminal indictment.
Whereas Dolan has a chance to catch up.
That's true. That's true. So, all right, I'm just gonna leave it there. I don't want to jinx anything. If this actually happens, I'll broadcast live from the parade in Washington.
So who's got the inside right now on getting the team? After
Harris? The
all
Harris
got
group.
this $7 million offer coming from somebody else.
Billion.
Billion.
Billion with a B.
Not to correct on the facts, but billion. Right.
Yeah, billion. I don't know. It sounds like a crypto bro thing, and I'm not real interested in it right now. I want steady. I want somebody who's owned some teams. We'll go through our process. Toby and I will hold hands, sing kumbaya as our teams go on to win various respective championships in their sports.
All right.
That's it.
I know that you guys with Jerry and Dan are suffering, and as much as I want your teams to suffer, I actually do want you both to get owners. I mean, they're both despicable people. I cannot stand the face of either one of them. And you guys are hardcore fans. It has got to be painful with either one of them. So as much as I want the Commanders to lose, I do want you to get a new owner. I'll be happy for Washington fans on it. And that was tough for me to say.
I think
I think we're better when Washington is competitive. I think it's a better league.
Yeah.
I mean,
I won't go that far.
We won't go. I don't want to get too far into it because, like I said, I won't jinx anything. But there's obviously been a lot of coverage locally about the history of the franchise and what Dan Snyder did to it. And there is an argument, a very strong argument, that it was at one point for a long time the premier franchise in the NFL, not just from wins and losses and 3 Super Bowls in 9 years, 9 seasons, but from the devotion that the fans had to the team and the team's involvement in the community. So it's the laughing stock that everybody's known the last quarter of a century is really unfortunate given the much longer history. But let's leave that there. Like I said, parade on signing day. Who's got a lasso for us? House?
So look, I mean, I know I'm a homer. I get it. And it's not often that you give a lasso to someone who just made $255 million. But I think everybody in sports knows that Jalen Hurts' story is a true lasso story. This is a guy who was benched in a title game, has to transfer out of his school because he's no longer the head honcho. He's run up in the Heisman and still can't get drafted in the first round. And after he gets drafted in the second round, because of a stereotype and what people think that he can't throw the ball, they basically make him a wildcat quarterback for a year. And he works really, really hard in the offseason. And he's a leader, and he learns even better how to throw the ball. And he takes a team in consecutive years, first from 9-8 and a wild card, then all the way to the Super Bowl, where he had a stellar performance and came up a bad holding penalty short. But the guy is, I think he's a good story in sports. And if the lasso is about good stories and like good people, I think Jalen Hurts and what he got today, that's a good one. And yes, there might be bigger contracts coming up in the next couple of weeks. Maybe Burrow outpaces him. I don't know.
Herbert.
Or Herbert, but But Jalen's story is a good one. And he's one of these rare people in sports where it's hard to find people that hate him. There's no reason to dislike Jalen or to not celebrate when good things happen to him. And normally when people get huge contracts like this, it's like, there could be envy, jealousy, hate, whatever. I don't think anybody's saying like, oh, Jalen shouldn't have gotten that money. It was hard work and it pays off. It's good for young kids to see this story.
And the story about how he got his agent and the people he surrounded himself with. I mean, he's just a good kid and worthy of the applause that he's getting for the way he holds himself out.
Yeah, that story about Nicole Lynn, she literally slid into his DMs and was like, "Do you have an agent yet?" And he was like, "Okay, we can talk." And she's a Black woman agent who was representing a Super Bowl quarterback and now has the highest contract in football. That's an amazing story too.
Yeah.
That will be a story.
And just think about it, in this day and age where conversation by insult is so in vogue, you can imagine lots of different players in the league, if they were in Jalen's shoes, the remarks they'd be making about Tua right now. He never does any of that.
True.
He's never like, yeah, don't you wish you had kept me instead of Tua or any of that stuff. But a lot of players in this league and others would be running their mouths about that. And he never, ever does that.
No, he's a great teammate.
Well, that's from the education he got at Oklahoma after he left Alabama.
After he got out of Alabama, right?
Right.
And
Right, yes.
the stellar coaching at Oklahoma
Absolutely.
that turned
Just
him into a
Great,
man.
great role models at OU.
Yeah, that's right. That's the first time that sentence has ever been uttered.
Yeah.
Okay, that's probably seems
On
like
that
a good
note.
place to stop it. Yeah. All right, good job, guys. Anything
Have
else?
a good week.
Have a good week, everybody.
Go
NBA
Sixers.
Later.
playoffs.
American
Yeah.
League next week, Milk.
Yo, I'm ready.